I'm getting ready to start a road continuation out here to get access into the back, I don't know what it was, 28 acres or something that we've got back here that our access point is not very good. So this point is where I'm planning on having the main drivable entry into this space. I've got a really good road set right into this point, and it's easily drivable. The roads are plenty wide, and there's plenty of room to widen the road a little bit more and make it that much more drivable. So this is going to be the entry point. So what I'm doing is nailing a wood post here to the fence next to this other wood post, and then I'm going to wrap a loop on the top and bottom, and I'm going to make a drop gate for here. I've disconnected it from that first T-post uphill, and I'll pull that T-post out, and then basically what I'm going to do is just use this to drop the wood post into the one barbed wire loop, and then hook it over the other post at the top so that it's tensioned up and it's holding the fence up. But then when I need to come through, I can just remove that, slip it up and pull it out of the way and come through. That's the reason I'm doing that. Is this time of year it's really difficult to get posts to go in and stay tight. Everything's just so dang dry. Once you get them in, they've rattled everything so loose that the hole doesn't stay tight, the post doesn't stay tight, it wants to push and pull and move. And I need to kind of get my cut and elevations, transition and everything like that all figured out before I have a post in here. So I don't want to go in and put in another post and a gate and all of that when it's going to be loose, and I'm going to have to probably redo it in the spring anyway. So this is going to get me access in and out and still keep the pasture closed behind me so I can get started coming in through here. I don't know if it's easy to tell or not on camera, but it kind of naturally shelves right through here, and there's maybe only 2 or 3 feet elevation change uphill to downhill on about a 10 or 12 foot width. So it's relatively flat. It won't take much cutting to get through here. There's another ridge just beyond this little patch of trees. And that ridge we're going to cross over with this, but just below the road there's a pretty good spot on the cap of that ridge that's relatively flat again. And I'm going to blow that out and flatten out a big space in there so that I can build a cabin for my little sister and her wife so their family can come up and enjoy. They spend a lot of time up here with us and they enjoy coming up, and we love having them here, and they enjoy the space and the views and just everything about it. So we're going to prep a space out here so that hopefully next spring we can start building a cabin for them to come up and stay in when they want to come up and visit, and even when they want to just get away for a little while from the city life. I'm going to quickly go ahead and tie this up a bit and get it ready, and then I'll cut this fence right through in between those two, and we'll have our access gate. Kind of uncharacteristic of me. I don't have my boots on today because I managed to sprain my ankle 2 days ago. And so I don't dare put my boots back on and have my ankle swell up and not be able to get it off. Or stress and strain it harder trying to get my boot off at the end of the night if the swelling's going up. Okay. Okay. Over the past several years, we've spent a lot of time walking and hiking out through these woods and out across the back section of our property. There's 28 acres out here beyond this fence that is just hard to access. It's very steep, the woods are very dense, and it's just hard to get through without some kind of trail or road. Now, we've hiked that many times and figured out a really good layout of where we want the roads to go. As we've hiked through the woods, we've found natural gaps in the trees that form kind of an alley through there that make a perfect pathway for the road. Between that and some natural shelving that happens in the land and the terrain, we found a pretty good layout of how we want the roads to go through there, including a loop and a few things like that, so that it's an easy drive out and drive in. But it just hasn't become priority enough yet to blow in those roads and make that access. So it feels good to get started on that and make movement towards getting those roads in. There was enough sagebrush and brush in general out here on this ridge that I wanted to bring the mower out first and just mulch all that off. If I was going to bury it, it would break down easier if it was already mulched. But just as I got going real good with mulching down some of the limbs on the trees and some of the sagebrush and everything, I blew a hose on the machine, and it was one of the factory hoses that came with it. The fitting simply blew right off of the end. That meant that I was done mowing for the day, and most likely done mowing for this entire project, because I definitely wanted to get started moving dirt. So once I pulled the hoses off of the mower and went to plug my thumb back in, the coupling on my thumb hose was all bound up and would not connect. So I had to spend the next 30 to 45 minutes tearing down that coupling and getting it cleaned up and cleaned out so that it moved and would lock into place. Then I was able to get back at it and really start digging this hill in. I needed to make sure I had a access road going uphill higher that's going to get into the farther woods and line up with the placement that I've already got worked out. And then I'm flattening out this spot for the cabin site. And I also wanted to take a minute and cut in a little road that loops down below the cabin site and goes into the woods at a lower elevation. Down in the woods, I've already mapped it out, and there will be a loop in that section that will come back and tie back to this ridge. I had a whole bunch of footage of actually carving in these roads and making that flat space for the cabin. However, the footage was really shaky and was just hard to watch. I spent a whole bunch of time working on the footage and editing it, trying to get it really watchable, but it just didn't work out. It was way too shaky and hard to watch. So we're just going to skip ahead to the finished product out here. You can see the upper road line that'll go out into the woods, the cabin site below that, and then the lower road line that will also go out to the woods. And eventually they will connect in a loop that's out there and pre-planned in our road development and access plan. Now that I have these 3 key points blown in on this ridge line, I can continue the roads, and hopefully next spring, after all this settles, we can plop that cabin right here in the middle of that flat space. The views are amazing. They're tucked down in and surrounded with trees on both sides, so it's well protected, and the road makes it an easy drive in.